I'm really passionate about concerned parents. And the reason is I was once a concerned parent. About 19 years ago, my profession changed for me, my world changed for me. I didn't know it at the time, but I had a baby that couldn't feed well, couldn't breastfeed well. She never slept, she never napped. She was hyper, she was underweight, she wet her bed. She had no diagnosis other than failure to thrive. We saw many medical professionals, had all sorts of blood tests and other tests, and there was absolutely no answer. My daughter was beautiful. She always had pouty little lips, was breathing through her mouth. She had to live on Pediasure because she couldn't swallow or eat anything solid, really. And I couldn't take her to daycare or have her go to big parties because she would always get sick, and we would end up with an albuterol inhaler because asthma would kick in. I didn't know it at the time, but what was going on was that she did not have a proper airway. She couldn't breathe. So what professionals thought was failure to thrive, or was ADHD, or countless other misdiagnoses, was actually an inability to breathe and therefore an inability to sleep properly. Fortunately, before she was fully developed, at about the age of 4, I came across a professional that understood airway and proper development, and he had me take a closer look at what was going on. And with Ellie, my daughter, she couldn't breathe because her tonsils and adenoids were enlarged, and her airway was developing small because she was breathing through her mouth and her structure was not properly developing. I took her to my pediatrician at the time and asked my pediatrician for her advice. And you know what she told me? She told me to watch and wait, that Ellie would outgrow this by the age of 7. But at the same time, Dr. Bonnick came out with an article about why it's important to treat kids early on that have enlarged tonsils and adenoids and aren't breathing and sleeping properly as a result, because it's not ADHD, but it can result in a drop in IQ and irreversible damage to their brain, and that starts before the age of 7. So I went against medical advice at the time, and I had her tonsils and adenoids taken out. But doing that isn't enough, because now, at the age of 5 or 6, she's developed the habit of breathing through her mouth. She has to break that habit too, so we have to teach her how to do that. And by incorporating myofunctional therapy, we were able to teach her to keep her lips together and breathe through her nose. But also her structure had already started to develop inadequately. So we had to step in and make sure that her bones developed in a proper way so that she would grow the proper size airway and have her jaw and facial structures in the right position for optimal health and development. So we did that. And my daughter is fortunate because she developed perfectly. She does not have asthma. She does not have a breathing problem. She sleeps fine. She's an A+ student. She's an athlete. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that none of that would have happened if we hadn't identified the cause of what was contributing to her illnesses when she was so young. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. I want to help your kids and help you start life off on the right foot for them. Develop their airways properly, get them sleeping well, make sure their structure is proper to support their growth and development. Because it's not always what you think it is. And something as simple as proper growth and development might be the cause behind all of those issues.